Hello everyone, it's good to be with you again. What I want to do now is just give you a quick recap on what I shared on Sunday. I talked about something which is really close to my heart, the fact that God is welcoming. I feel so passionately about it because I'm acutely aware of the fact that God welcomed me. I don't know if I would have welcomed myself. I could see all the reasons why God wouldn't, but he did. But then I found it difficult to fit into the church. I didn't always feel welcome there. And I know that many others have that difficulty. And so therefore it's so important for us to really grasp hold of the real truth that our God is welcoming. And we saw that by looking at the bigger picture, that God made us for a relationship with him. We may choose to walk our own way away from him. But he draws us back to him. He welcomes us. He wants us to have a relationship with him for eternity. The bigger picture of the gospel demonstrates that God can't be anything other than himself and welcoming. But then we looked at 4 individuals from John's gospel whom Jesus welcomed. 4 complementary, contrasting figures. The first is Nicodemus, a religious leader who came secretly, quietly at night. Jesus welcomed him even though he did it clandestinely. And it took to the end of the gospel before Nicodemus became a Christian. Then we have the second person, the Samaritan woman, who was an outcast to her own people, who Jesus met at the well, welcomed her. He took the initiative, the result of which she became a believer and told everyone what Jesus had done. Then there is the royal official, part of the puppet government, a political leader who sought Jesus out, fell at his feet because his daughter was ill. Jesus healed the daughter and the royal official became a believer. And then finally, the fourth figure is the invalid for 38 years. Do you want to be well? Jesus healed him, sought him out after that to tell him who he was, and he became a believer. 4 very different people demonstrating that Jesus receives whoever. And they were different people, came in different ways, but came to that point of belief in the same way. And so, therefore, what it brings is the 2 things. One is that Jesus, God, welcomes you and I. We don't have to doubt that. We don't have to doubt his welcome. The issue is on our side, not his. Do we come to him? But then it's about the church. Does the church welcome all? And it's a challenge. And it's not as easy as it would seem. And I use the example of Peter, who needed a vision from God 3 times before he would go to Cornelius. But even after that had to be challenged by Paul because he'd separated himself from Gentile believers. And we as the church, we need to work hard to be like God, like Jesus, and welcoming all. So, some questions that you can discuss in your group. First, what has been your experience of being welcomed by Jesus? Welcomed by the church? How can we each and every one of us, make the church more welcoming? Second question, why do you think Peter struggled to accept and welcome Gentiles? And who are our equivalent to Gentiles? Third question, how do you feel about the thought of talking to people who are very different from you? And then the last question, what challenges does a church that welcome everyone face? What are the barriers to doing that? And how can we overcome them? I hope you enjoy your discussion, and I hope this helps us take forward us as a church so that we become more like God and more welcoming. Amen.